Good afternoon, everyone. It's pretty exciting to come back to Hong Kong to share this project with you. And I also feel so exciting that I meet Feline. She was my professor when I was in Polytechnic. Today I'm going to share with you my project in Shanghai, which we developed 2004. In Shanghai, there's quite a lot of old architectures. I think everybody familiar with the Bund. And I was participating in the Xintiandi development 1998, which is also a pretty exciting project. Today I'm going to share with you the bridgehead projects. All these projects are located in the Huangpu district, which is the heart of Shanghai town center. And during the, like 50 years ago, there's quite a lot of factories in the town center of Shanghai, but they are not big scale. It's talking about around 10,000 to 50,000, but those huge ones is talking about 1 million square meter, which is in the suburban area. So the first one I'm going to share with you is the phase one, which is located in the Jianguoru. That is around 20,000 square meter. In 2004, until in 2002, my company was just established. We always work with a group of architects and designers, which we really don't want to go into the traditional office, like the Grade A office. So, and with the experience of the Xintiandi development, we have very good relationship with the local government. So the government introduced us this abundant factory in town center, which was car accessory factories. It's talking about around 20,000 square meter. In fact, this kind of factory were actually not nice, was quite poor condition, and the manufacturing is no longer happen inside there because all these pollution issues. But at that time, when I see these factories, the spatial feeling, the kind of scale, you really feel exciting. I mean, most of the architect and designer like this kind of place, I think. But I believe that at that time, there's already some architect convert this old factory around the Suzhou Creek into their own studio. But I think most of them are more concerning about the interior. And they are pretty individual, not sharing together. So we think it should be a place that we could gathering the different people, different designers that we could work together with. We have the same shared value. So we start to plan, and we make the decision that we took the whole project. We ran it for 20 years, and we spent the money for the renovation, and then release some of the space to other companies. It's very simple idea, in fact. These were the principle when we doing the design. Of course, I think you still want a lot of natural light. You want to have more spacious feeling. Greenery is a very key issue. There's one thing we are very focused on the renovation. I think most of the great office we hate, you never meet your neighborhood. You normally go to the elevator and then you wouldn't say hello to the people stand right next to you in the elevator. So it's quite difficult. So we create a lot of walkway, the bridges, linking different companies together, and then we create a lot of public space for people to meet each other, to have a coffee, to have a chat. And of course, we think we need to have not just lease out the office, but we need a lot of event space to make things happen. So the kind of renovation is really almost more difficult than to build another one, because the structure were weak. The wall, when you tear down the wall, you find old shoes inside there. So because in 1950, we were not that rich at that time. So the structure were also terrible too. And of course, originally there is an old factory. We need to fulfill some of the regulation in China. So the most important is the fire regulation. So we spend most of the money on the structural reinforcement, in the fire escape, and then we don't have too much money left for the appearance. So we need to think about some local material, which to try to bring the linkage with the local people. Then you could see some before and after pictures. This is one of our event hall. And this is the new texture we apply on these factories. Of course, the big windows is attracting more light. And we keep most of the building skeletons. So these were and of course for the public space, we sacrifice quite a lot of rentable space and create a lot of courtyards for people sharing. And I think the public space is so important that people not work in their office that much. They bring their laptop and stay on the courtyard. When we did this project, it's very new. I think it's the first one in China. So when we go through the planning departments, it's pretty difficult because the regulation in China may be most tough in the world. So, but it's very interesting that the district head, he was so supporting on this project because our track record, the successful of CDN. So he's holding a coordination meeting with like 20 departments, including planning bureau, construction bureau. We need to find out what sort of regulation we have to strictly follow and what we could have some breakthrough. So at the end, that we cannot exceed any building area, I mean GFA. So we have to maintain the same GFA, with, same as the old factory. The land still industrial land, but we are allowed to lease out 80% space for office and 20% for commercial facilities. We cannot exceed the high limit as well, and we have to keep the basic form of the factories. These were some basic principles we work out with the government. And after this project, the mayor and the central government visit us. They even issue a legal document, which they create a bureau to make some assessment that if you have the title creative cluster, then you are allowed to lease out this space as an office space. But of course, you need to obey the regulations when you're doing all these reconstructions. So these were in fact, we don't have the bridge in the very beginning because we need to cross over the road. But after the mayor's visit, he saying we should build a physical bridge. So this is the bridge we built. And also the planning bureau were pretty interesting. When we did this project, most of the people think that creative cluster, it should be some aggressive shape. But at that time, we think we should merge with the environment. We don't want to be so special when most of the neighborhood some of them were residents. So we don't want to be some too big impact. So we try to create something which is some basic rules like greenery lighting. So most of the designers don't hate it. If you create certain form which is too aggressive, maybe, I mean, most of the architects have their own style and most of the designers have their own style, they will hate us. That, wow, such an awful things. So we try to pick up some historical elements, some basic texture to let everybody feel comfortable when they work there. The name Bridge 8, in fact, when we have this project, we try to bridging up different industries, bridging up the east and west, and we are the phase 1 was located in number 8 to 10 of Jiangguo and most of the Hong Kong people like number 8. So it's just Bridge 8. And after the successful of Bridge 8, the Luwan, at that time it's still Luwan district, now it's called Huangpu. The Huangpu government, that they want us to work more on this type of project. And also we find we don't have enough space, we are totally leased out. And we found that there's another location, the road named Jimenru, which is in fact is the southern part of Huangpu area. This is a very interesting location. It is only around 3 kilometers from the Huaihairu commercial hub. Let me explain in this picture. So this is the commercial hub. You could name it CBD of Huangpu, and Xintiandi is over there. And only 3 kilometers away from the CBD, in fact, this is quite a terrible area. It's almost not much development. It's most of the space were residence and school, and abundant factories. But luckily, it's just right next to the World Expo site. So we find out that there's around 200,000 abandoned factory in this area, and nobody use it. So these were the location of the factories. So we found that it could achieve to certain scale, because the phase 1 is just talking about 20,000, and we believe that this kind of need for the space, especially in Shanghai, is the booming development, and all these design companies are looking for space. So we think it probably will be a pretty good location. But also some challenge, because I could also share with you some historical stuff. This is an old map in 1920. This area, in fact, just right next to the French concession, this circle is the Chinese zone. So in 1920s, the Chinese area basically not much nice building. So after like 100 years, this area, you can't find any historical features or some cultural features. After the 1950s, it's all residentials. So how to brand this place and how to find out some attractive cultural features for the designer to move inside is another big challenge. But there's one very important point, that the expo site is originally Jiangnan ship manufacturing plant. So it's really famous in late Qing dynasty. In fact, that time they are making weapons in these huge factories. So the name called Jiangnan Zhizhao Ju means the road called Jimenlu is in fact the mouth of this factory plant. And because of the World Expo opportunities, we also think that we're going to have a huge budget for make this place nice too. So because you want to convert such an ordinary low-end place within a couple years, normally this kind of project in other countries it takes 20 to 30 years. But with the World Expo opportunity, because the Chinese government always want to polish most of this space and make it look nice. So then we did the whole planning for this area, not just the project we're going to rent, but the whole area. This is some picture in 2007. You could see it's really not sexy, but this is real Shanghai. The majority space in China is look like this. It's not like the Bonn, the Lujiazui area. This is the school, and students, and quite a lot of this kind of terrible houses. In fact, it's pretty dangerous to live inside. So with this budget in World Expo, we have chance to reform this area. And also quite a lot of abandoned factories. You could see this is quite interesting. Was being used by a fashion wholesaler, but in fact the government think that how come you could use this kind of location as a fashion wholesaling? So it's terrible. And even a material market in this location, a huge material market. And we start to think about how to create this area. Maybe I could name it a Soho of Shanghai, a real Soho, but not for the selling houses. So we think about it should be, people could, in fact, it's 3 keywords, is live, work, and play we try to create, because there's so many residents, living areas, and people could work in the factories, and then of course they could have some entertainment. And it should be like 24 hours. I mean, anytime you could go to work, you could take a rest. It's very basic principle. I think all you guys understand about this, not complicated. So we plan the whole street, the whole zone, and put in different content about live, work, and play. And these were the sketches we quite try to create, nice junctions, more rooftop gardens, and more exploration, more small streets rather than just a big street. And we try to find out some more human scale rather than this big, huge development in China, talking about high-rise, big buildings. But we want to create something more cozy, more touching, and merging with the local market. So these were the street shops we try to create, and all the small streets. This is some of the renderings. And the phase 2 and 3 was located on this Jimenru. Each of them is around 15,000 square meter. This is the phase 2 that I just mentioned about. Is the fashion wholesaler has do some renovation, but this is very, very interesting. Most of the people will try to just use this old factory, but not try to upgrade this kind of place. They just try to use it, so they just repaint it, and it's really poor condition. It's still quite a lot of factory being used like that. And of course, we did the whole new planning, similar as the phase 1. So there's also some before and after photos. And also, we think, I just mentioned about this area is not much character. So we did some cultural research. We take quite a lot of, with the architect, that we go through all these old houses, old historical building in Luwan district, I mean Huangpu district, so to find out these red brick features and this Shanghai style, put some this kind of design element on our project. And this is phase 3. Also, this is also something we should think about. In fact, in phase 3, there's around 8 buildings grouped together. The distance between 2 buildings talking about 8 meters. For the new regulation, you never could build a 2 building like 10-story height, and the distance is only 8 meters because of the sunlight. But in fact, 8 meters is very good distance for people seeing each other. It's very cozy. So we have to, I think most of the new developer can't do this, but we can, because we just keep this distance. So this is before, and we try to create some landmark, find some image of this old Shanghai building, but of course we not try to imitate. We also create some new red bricks with some interesting texture to apply on the building. And of course, an eco-friendly issue that we take away quite a lot of space to let more air in and more natural light this is like we sacrifice almost half of the building area to try to let more airflow. We keep most of the balcony and staircase. So these were the new environment. And of course, again, the public space is also very important. So we even demolish some part of the building to create some courtyard. I think the environment is just one issue, of course, to create a good platform for all these designers to stay, but try to find out the right people to move inside is even more difficult to gathering all these designers in our project. So in the very beginning, we among some of our friends and also the introduction by the government that we have a chance to talk to those world-class company, and we offer really low rental, and also we help them to even register their new company, that we're able to pull in quite a lot of world-class company. Like altogether, we have 128 tenants from all over the world. Still, Hong Kong, in fact, occupies 30% from our space, and the others is from United States, Germany, UK, Japan, Australia. It's not a big quantity, but it's very representative. And they are from different industry, from architectural design, product advertising, and animation, interior. In fact, we intend to do this because in China, they always try to encourage certain industrial to grow, like they create this comic industrial zone. In fact, the same people in the same industry, maybe they don't really like to have too much computer right next to them. So we also think about how to compete better business cycle by offering this brand building company to the product design company. And we find that at the end it works so well. I'm going to share with you some cases as well. So we have the SOM, they stay with us for more than, it's around 8 years. And Perry, he was just newly moved to us last year. Sparch, IDEO, and IDEO at that time, I think it's pretty interesting too. Why they pick up us? Because they can't find a good office that they could change even the building. So when they come to me, I change the structure for them. I build an outdoor platform, and they find it such amazing that they could create even not just interior but the exterior. And they are very successful because I visiting them almost once a year. That they not doing just a product. Of course, they are helping the big company in China to improve their management innovation and how to have a good management to encourage innovation product. So it's more on the strategic side. So it's quite a lot of this kind of scale company are pretty good business in China. Benny, they are doing very good office furnitures. Gray advertising group, in fact, they used to stay in the Gray office, but after they move into Bridget, they bring all their subsidiary. They occupy us around 3,000 square meters that they don't need to traveling around. Most of the subsidiaries are working together in Bridget now. There's a post-production of the movie was owned by the famous director called Wu Xiyuan. And Herman Miller, they stay. This is the first office in China. And LKK is a Chinese designer that they winning so much award and are very influential. Dorani is one of the biggest printing company. EDOS, this is very interesting case. EDOS developed this game technology, computer game technology. They own this technology, and they find a different partner in China to create a game and the figures. And after they move in Bridge 8, they work so close with another tenant called Win King, which is owned by the Shanghainese and Taiwanese, that they have more than like 500 young staff creating figures and computer games, that they currently work so close. They become one of the biggest partner with EDOS in China market. And of course, all the interiors from this tenant were so exciting, and we just bare shell handover to them, and they have their own air conditioning system that they could work 24 hours without doing any application compared with this Grade A office. And of course, the backup facilities that we create, a bookstore, cafe, restaurants, were also so important. In fact, this is also quite difficult. When we try to put the right tenant, in fact, there's not much pedestrian. So we need to, in fact, the shops there will not really earn too much money, but the office is very good rental. So we substitute the rental to the shops. And also we are currently encouraging all the showrooms showing all these designer products. So this is the, after this 5 years, this is the new German rule, the public space. But I mean, it's one thing didn't change is the air quality is still poor. But the environment is really nice. And of course, we create a different type of events. Also the big support from Design Center. And also we have these training programs for the local designers and commercial events. There's so many publicities, but most important is the central government. They found out that this is a very good, effective way to try to encourage the development of creative industry. So most of the most important central government were visiting us, President Xi and President Hu, and of course, CY, yeah. Oh. Is there something wrong about the PowerPoint? Yeah. Maybe I just touch that slide. Okay, I'm going to finish. Yeah. And all the key men from the central government. And after their visit, in fact, they bring this idea to different provinces. For the bridge, we currently work as, and we're providing quite a good solution for these old buildings. And also, we become an incubator for creative industry. We create more than 10,000 job opportunities for the design industry, especially in Jumanlu area. And from the investment side, in fact, we have pretty good return. We have more than 20% IRR when we're doing these properties. We also helping the local government collect a very good tax. In 2005, it's talking about 3 million for phase 1, and now it's talking about 100 million each year. It's only like 8 years. And after our project, in fact, within these 5 years, there's 1,000 creative customers, more than 1,000 in China. Of course, not all of them are in a good shape, but we add as an example for all these cities. Shanghai, China, Shanghai and and Beijing and all these different provinces. It's talking about 1,000 something. Currently, I'm working on phase 4. It's also located in Jumanlu, and also some big city reform project in different provinces. And especially, we are working on one big project in Qianhai, which is future new city, that we try to create a creative cluster, a big scale one in Shanghai. It's talking about creative cluster together with right lifestyle. I mean, living, work, again, work, live, play concept in Shanghai. And we work very closely with the Shanghai management. So this is all about my sharing. Thank you very much.